Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Garrett and I focus on next level strategy discussion surrounding and pertaining to Mario Kart Tour. So if that sort of thing interests you, click the thumbs up button on this video and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Today's video is going to be a big one, so I strongly recommend bookmarking this video and coming back to it because I'm going to have a lot of fascinating discussion points as well as observations that will be sure to stimulate a wide variety of players, but particularly the competitive-minded players out there. The first thing I'll be looking at is the brand new pipe, the Pirate Pipe. Many of you have already pulled on it as soon as this launched, and everyone saw that there were 3 spotlight drivers and a total of 5 high-ends and a 50 pipe you guys launched in, and rightfully so. In Tabor's rankings, it is the 11th best pipe that we've had. That's out of all the pipes, so 30 pipes, 50 pipes, and 100 pipes. So this one is one of the best. However, I do want to bring some things to the forefront of your mind when deciding whether or not you should go into this pipe or future pipes that may be similar. So if we go to the details here, you'll see that you're guaranteed, if you drain this pipe, that you will get one of each of the drivers. That is wonderful news. When you go into a pipe, the most important thing to keep in mind is what are the spotlights, because even in the worst case scenario, in which all those items are at the very, very bottom, you will be guaranteed to get them as long as you spend the full Ruby amount. But the interesting thing is with the items that aren't guaranteed in the spotlight. So we see here that of the 5 high-ends, you'll get 1 high-end cart and 1 high-end glider. Now you have a selection of 3 carts and a selection of 3 gliders as to what those will be, and there's no guarantee it will be any specific one of these. So for the carts, we have the Steel Driver, which is in the standard high-end pool. You can get it in the all clear pipe, you can get it in today's challenge pipes. It is actually one of the better carts in terms of the standard high-end pool. So this is the best cart that you could pull in this offering. And then you have the Sushi Racer, which is also a standard high-end, but this one has very low value. I've pulled it twice in the all clear pipe, and I have used it I think 1 time in the top shelf and once or twice in the middle shelf. It is one of the weaker carts of the high-end variety. And then we have the Pirate Sushi Racer, which I don't possess. It was a spotlight along with Bowser Jr. Pirate, and the value of that is not much greater than that of the original Sushi Racer. So out of all of the items in this, the cart selection is definitely the weakest. Now let's talk about the gliders, because that's what everyone wants, right? The Black Great Sail, recently in the updated rankings in Tabor's list, is the #1 glider in the game. It has 24 tracks when it's fully leveled up to level 6 anyway. And it has Bullet Bill Plus as the special, which look, Bullet Bills aren't an item that you want, but since you're only going to be getting that in the rear, it's not affecting the items that you're receiving in the middle of the pack and at the front of the pack. So Bullet Bill Plus is not a terrible skill to have on a glider, and in fact it's a very good skill to have if you have a coin box driver, since that is not going to be reducing the frequency of coin box single items in your races. The other 2 gliders are not quite as good. You have the Blooper Wingtip and the Manta Glider. Both are solid gliders, but they're nothing sensational. The main glider that most people want is this Black Great Sail. So when I take a look at this and I'm thinking, okay, you can go into this pipe looking for the Black Great Sail, but you know that it's unlikely that you're going to get it on your first run through. And it might sweeten the deal that you have 3 spotlight drivers, and that is certainly true. And this, of course, it depends on your inventory. How much do you want these spotlight drivers? How much will they help you? And will you be leveling them up? These are all questions that you can answer yourself, either by having a very detailed understanding of your own inventory or by using BAM and Jerb spreadsheet, and that will tell you what your strongest items are, and you can also play around with the values of them to do what-if scenarios to see how strong pieces could be in your inventory were you to level them up more or provide more point capping on them and such. Anyway, so we see that there's only one glider out of 50 pipes. So, and 2 out of 3 of those gliders are not the one we want. If we bring it over to the calculator and we type in 2 divided by 3, because 2 out of 3 of the gliders are the ones that we don't want. So you can see that your chance of not getting the glider that you want through one determination of this pipe is 66.7%, 2/3. Very simple math. Now, once you hit the glider, if you were to reset, you'll get a second opportunity. So if you go into this with the mindset that you'll drain twice, okay, so then we're going to square this number, and you'll see that that reduces to 44.4%. That means that the chance to get the black great sale is 55.6%, because what you would do, remember, this is the chance of getting one of the 2 gliders you don't want. So therefore you would do 1 minus 0.444, and I'll do it right here for you. So 1 minus 0.444 is 0.556, and you multiply it by 100 to get 55.6%. So with that in mind, the average and the median amount of rubies that you would be spending in order to find the glider would be 3 10 pulls, because you can get it on your first 10 pull, your second 10 pull, your third 10 pull, your fourth 10 pull, or your fifth 10 pull, or singles, depending upon what your strategy is in that situation, meaning that the average of those would be right in the middle. So we'll say for 135 rubies, you have a 33% chance of getting the black great sale, and in 270 rubies now, on average, you would have a 55.6% chance of getting the black great sale. And let's see, if you're willing to go another additional 135 rubies, this would take you all the way up to 405 rubies. So we would do 2 divided by 3, and we would cube that number, so we get 0.296, and 1 minus 0.296, 1 minus 0.296 equals 70.4% chance of getting the black great sale in 405 rubies. Should you pull on this pipe? For most of you, the answer will be yes, but I wouldn't say it's an absolute must pull for everyone. And the reason for that is because we have 3 spotlights here. So if you're going to go into this pipe, you want to make sure that you have 225 rubies in order to secure the spotlight items in this pipe. You're not concerned about what your odds are for the black great sale, because you can't guarantee that. You would need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rubies, and perhaps several resets in order to hit the black great sale. So if you're only interested in this pipe for the black great sale and you don't have a very, very large amount of rubies saved up, this is not the pipe for you. If you're looking for Nabbit or one of these drivers, this is a great opportunity to get them. However, if you already have these drivers, given that 2 of them are already standard high ends, then perhaps the only new driver for you is Bowser Jr. Pirate. His value isn't very good in terms of a high-end driver. If we take a look here, you can see that the only new track he got was Cheap Island Reverse. Didn't even get a rank track, which is unfortunate since his value has been declining as of late, and definitely one of the best looking alts in the game, but has a poor skill. So in terms of the track coverage, it's not what you would like to see it be, such as Peach Explorer. The other thing to keep in mind, even if you have enough rubies for this, we're during the summertime celebration, there might be more good pipes down the line. I'd say that there's a good chance that there will be, especially for that 3rd tour. We don't know if it's going to be a rally tour, or it could just be a big summer bash tour where there could be something really hot that drops. We don't know yet. So you don't want to jeopardize your ruby count. If you're sitting right around 350, 400 rubies, you might want to pass on this pipe if you're not going to get a lot out of it, or perhaps if you're not going to be investing heavily into these items right away. That's what I will look at. And also keep in mind, anytime when there isn't spotlights, to use the logic and thinking that I applied with the calculator before in determining what your odds are of pulling what you want to see. So with that out of the way, the next topic I want to talk about is the value of carts. On the channel here, you know that I've been a strong advocate of drivers and driver tickets. They are approximately 2 times as valuable as their cart and glider counterparts in your inventory. And conventional wisdom says that gliders are the second most valuable piece of inventory because that is what helps you keep combo. Combo points are a mechanic in the game in which for each consecutive action you perform within a combo, you gain 3 points when that glider is in the top shelf. So, and those 3 points will get added cumulatively on until you have a full combo of 15, which means that for your first action in the combo you'll receive 3 points, and then for the second one you'll receive 6 points, 9 points, and so on, all the way up to 45. And then starting with your 16th action and onwards, every single action within your combo will have an additional 45 points of combo added to the total, and that number will be factored into the number that you see in the upper right hand corner as you perform your run. And if you were to drop combo, it resets, so you'll have to go back down to 3, 6, 9, and so on, all the way back up to 45. As you recover your combo back up to a full chain of 16 and more actions. And what does that ultimately accumulate to? Well, if you drop combo in a run, you are losing effectively 360 points. That is the addition of 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 12 and so on, all the way up to 45. But in actuality, it's likely more than 360 points that you're losing out on, because if you have a full level 7 lineup, 777 all triple capped, that's over 200 bonus points per action, right? Because you have 84 bonus points per action for a level 7 triple capped high-end driver, and it would then be 42 bonus points per action for each level 7 triple capped cart and glider. All told, that would be 168 bonus points per action that you would be losing on a single action, but perhaps multiple actions if you've dropped combo, if you've been hit by lightning or a blue shell that would prevent you from releasing the mini turbo that you've been holding, or perhaps even a second one if you're in the wrong spot in the course, or missing coins, things of that nature. Perhaps you're holding on to an item and then you miss that item's accuracy points when you hit one of the bot opponents. In total then, it could potentially be as many as 550 to 600 points potentially that you could be losing out on by dropping your combo in a number of situations. But the bare minimum that you're going to miss out on are those 360 points. So then, where do carts factor into this? Well, if you have a glider, you want to have it at a high enough level so that you're able to maintain combo comfortably throughout an entire run, a non-stop combo, and that way every action starting with the 15th action in your combo, you're going to be getting that 45 combo points added to every action through the end of your run. That would be a maximum value run that you could receive. And comparing that to what do carts actually do. So if we check this out here, Cheap Island, you can see I have a middle shelf cart here. The green cheap charger, it was in the token shop, and for those of you who play with Gold Pass, it was a Gold Pass gift long before that even. But as you can see here, carts provide 2 stats on the level up, and the one says where I'm at for level 2, it says X 1.05 to all bonus points earned. Those bonus points are the bonus points as in action. So that is your rocket start, your mini turbo, your banana accuracy if you drop a banana and one of the bots slip on it. That's what that bonus point is. And then the line below that, it will say X1 bonus points boost. So for this your item needs to be in the top shelf. Since the green cheap charger in this case is not in the top shelf, I don't get that second line. If we go back here, I don't receive that second line, but I am getting the additional bonus points earned from that top line. So basically what occurs is every action and item hit has a base value for points. So like when you collect a coin, each coin that you collect at base point value is 5 points. When you do your rocket start, it's between 10 and 30 points. 30 is the maximum. So what this will do, we'll take 30 for the rocket start as an example here. So what you would see then, actually, you're not getting 30 points on this specific case because as being a middle shelf item, it says bonus points are x 1.5. So that would be 30 times 1.5, and then it would be times 1.05 because that's the additional bonus points that the cart earns me for being level 2. Okay, so now you might say, okay, that's well and good. This is something where you have to factor in, okay? At this low level, it doesn't make a significant difference, and oftentimes you just want to go with what your highest base points are. So if I had this item, let's just say hypothetically, if I had the gold cheap snorkel, this would have 400 base points if I had it fully maxed out to experience without providing a points cap ticket to it. That's a difference of 100 points. And let's say hypothetically, if since high ends start with x 1.1 to bonus points, and this is only x 1.05, but let's say hypothetically that this was x 1.15. Let's say if this was a level 6 green cheap charger and still at 300 base points for whatever reason, then it's still likely that you would want to go with the gold cheap snorkel, because the difference in points for the middle shelf in this case between x 0.05 difference in bonus points earned would be less than 100 points, since cheap island is not a very long track and the amount of actions that you can do within it isn't a significantly high number. However, once you go to the top shelf, you'll see that the bonus points are times 2, not times 1.5. So this kind of changes the value of things, because that number is also being multiplied to your bonus points boost when your cart is leveled up. So for this, I want to use my Ramby Runner as an example. So we'll go over to week 2's ranked mode. Ramby Runner is top shelf in Cheap Island T here. And if we take a look at the Ramby Runner cart, so yeah, on this cart I have x 1.2 to all bonus points, and I have x times 4 bonus points boost. I'm going to get both of these because I do get the bonus points boost since it is in the top shelf. But that's a separate scoring mechanism entirely. That boost occurs for each action, and it's a lump sum. To all bonus points earned will vary based on the action type. So your rocket start will receive more of a boost than will your mini turbo, and your ultra mini turbo will receive ultra mini turbos count for 30 points, whereas only regular mini turbos only count for 5 points. So the boost will have greater weight or magnitude, I should say, in terms of the amount of points being generated extra from having a higher boost multiplier on your cart. So with that being said, then I want to provide an alternative mindset for leveling up carts, because believe it or not, if you perform 150 actions, very modest run, and you do that with, let's say, an average of 15 base points for each action, you're looking at hundreds of points here between just one level difference. And forget about it, if you compare a level 1 top shelf high-end cart to a level 6 or a level 7 for that matter high-end top shelf cart, the difference in bonus points if you're performing runs that are 150 actions or greater is nearly double that of the combo points that a glider possesses. So my personal philosophy that I have been spreading on chat groups, and now I'm sharing with you on camera here, is that yes, gliders tend to be more valuable than karts. However, the glider's value plateaus when it reaches a level in which you're able to comfortably maintain the combo, which for me, when I look at a glider, I don't have a top shelf glider on this track, but for me, plus 20% to combo time, level 4, that's when it hits the maximum, and it only takes 4 tickets in order to get that on a high end. Everything beyond that, once you go to plus 25% to combo time, yes, that extra 5% will save you in certain sensational situations, in which case the bots or the item hits are maddening to a very good run that you're experiencing. But otherwise, 20% is very comfortable for keeping combo. And beyond that, the cart value exceeds that of the glider. Absolutely. Now, there are some implications for this in terms of track coverage. So if we take a look at the Rambi Runner, which is really the only cart that I've ever invested into at this point, I invested into it because I love the design, and I had faith in its value moving forward when it first came out, because it came out in a pipe in which there was no new character. So it was kind of a leap of faith that I made on this cart. But let's just say if it didn't turn out to be the great success that it's been in the top 10 of Tabor's rankings for 2 consecutive tours now. And it's only something like 4 tours old, so there's still potential value that it can still receive. It was going to be the centerpiece of my cart strategy moving forward, so even if it was only like a top 40 or a top 50 cart, it still would have been sufficient, and I could have molded my strategy around that. But if we take a look at the tracks that the Rambi Runner has, keeping in mind now the multiplier for the bonus points earned, ultimately what you want to look for are carts that have a significant percentage of tracks that are either trick or reverse trick, but non-city tracks. So these are ones that are likely to reappear and reappear in ranked mode, and these would be able to get you the maximum value for your bonus points earned, the concept that I just shared with you. And the reason for that, naturally, is because trick tracks and reverse trick tracks have more jump boosts, more dash panels, and higher action counts in general overall. So if we take a look at the Rambi Runner here, we have 10 trick and reverse trick tracks when it's fully leveled up, not including the Paris Promenade, otherwise it would be 11 reverse trick and trick tracks. So over 50% of the Rambi Runner's tracks are either trick or reverse trick, so it is making the most of its bonus points earned. And even more than that, if we take a look at the normal or reverse tracks that it gets, Dino Jungle, with Donkey Kong, or even Gold Koopa Free Running, that's a massive action count track. You can easily get, I used Donkey Kong on that to score over 40,000, 172 actions, and each banana accuracy is going to be 25 base points. So the number being multiplied by that bonus points earned is enormous when it's added up in totality. As well as we see here, it gets access to DK Summit. DK Summit has half pipes. A half pipe is 20 points and the special trick is 40 points. So that's 60 points of multiplier that you can be getting along with all of those jump boosts. You don't even need the trick track variant in order to maximize or get a very high value for that bonus points multiplier. So there you have it. My personal philosophy on the value of carts is that they are not as weak of inventory pieces as conventionally thought. I would say that number 1 is absolutely the driver, and number 2 is the glider up until level 4, and then beyond that, the cart overtakes the glider in terms of value. So if you're in a point in the game where your inventory is favoring investments into items that are beyond level 4, carts are more valuable than gliders at this point for you. As long as you're able to maintain combo, You don't have to worry about those 360 and more points, and the carts will provide you with hundreds of additional points. One thing that I was discussing about with Jay on the Kart Life Discord, Jay is an expert on the scoring mechanisms within Mario Kart Tour, and we had a wonderful discussion on this, is that unlike the combo points that you receive, it's very hard to quantify exactly what the value of the bonus points bonus points earned from your cart is, since it will vary on a track-to-track basis. So the best method that you can use for applying this is very specifically looking at the profile of tracks a cart gets that you want to invest in, and determining what the action counts are on those tracks, and favoring investing into carts that have higher action counts, as that will generate more opportunities for your bonus points earned from those carts. The next thing I want to discuss is tier matchmaking and ranked mode. This is a very hot topic, and the theories that I'm about to present you will heat that up even further. These are things that I've been observing for months now, and I've gone through the data and I crunched the numbers a bit, and the findings are very clear and stark to me. However, I must caution that just because there is correlation does not necessarily prove causation, and that this is just supporting evidence of a theory that I have developed, and it makes sense on a basic level. So essentially, we know certain things go in factoring our ranked mode, right? The strength of your loadouts, your past scoring history, because you can have two players in tier 70, but one player may have scored 100,000 one week, and another player may have scored 60,000 the previous week, and their range of opponents will be more in the range of what their scoring capabilities are. If you're someone that's routinely scoring in the 60 or 70,000s, you're not going to be seeing opponents in the 100,000s. You're just not. And Nintendo has a way of pairing you with people of your relative skill level. One thing that's become apparent is that Nintendo has the ability to tweak the difficulty of the ranked algorithm on a week-to-week basis. And to most players, this would seem like a random trend. However, for a player like me that goes very deep into the data, and also who invests very little into the game, not only am I a free-to-play player, but I hoard my tickets, I hoard my rubies, I don't use them, hardly ever. I will provide with you in the chart on screen here a look at my history with rubies, and there's a breakdown of where I've received all of those rubies from, so you can get a gauge for how I've performed in rank mode on a tour-to-tour basis. Now, starting with the let's take it back a step further. The most important thing a mobile game has to do is control the value of its virtual currency, because that's what's linked to the real-world currency that generates revenue that allows their game to survive and thrive. I've been very outspoken on this topic going back to last summer when tier 50 was the highest tier in the game. I said that don't expect to see when the tier thresholds increase for the reward in ranked mode to exceed that of 40 rubies, and I hit the nail on the head with that, because they've expanded tiers to tier 60 and subsequently tier 70, and they've still kept the maximum reward for ranked mode at 40 rubies. Yes, the tickets have increased, I'll get to that in a moment, but the ruby reward has stayed the same since the first year of the game, and there's a few reasons for that, honestly. The primary reason is because when you have 40 rubies, you can't do a complete 10 fire on a pipe. That's 45 rubies. So what they're essentially forcing you to do is, if you've used all your rubies, which a lot of players are in that situation, my whole platform is to educate and inform players on how to save rubies and maximize your outcomes in the pipes. But it's very hard to get players to follow along on this plan for various reasons. So many players are deficient in rubies, and what 40 rubies does is it prevents you from doing a maximum 10 fire on a pipe, and that just limits you to doing 8 singles. So you're losing value within a pipe. directly if you're just doing single fires with 5 rubies. Many players out there do. Some have had success with it, like our very own Isai and the free-to-play group, but it is a suboptimal strategy to do single fires on a pipe. So then what compensates for those 40 rubies? Well, conveniently they have value packs in the shop that sell for a couple of bucks, and you can buy a mini bundle of 3 rubies. So if you buy a couple of those, that can get you over 45 rubies for you to get your optimal value 10 fire on the pipe, but that also generates revenue for them. So why would they give you 45 rubies on a weekly basis for that sort of thing? How does this tie in to ranked mode difficulty? Beginning with level 7, I noticed a trend, and I started to pick up on this trend a little bit earlier, in which whenever there was a team rally tour, I noticed that the ranked modes didn't follow the same structure and texture, or words that I often use to describe the difficulty thresholds within a ranked group, which is to say, how many points separate the first and second place player, or the first and third place player, or the second and third place player, and so forth, all the way down to 10th place and below. And I noticed that in tours where there would be extra rubies provided to us because the generosity of Nintendo has increased, but along with that generosity has come a hidden stinginess, and that is the ranked mode difficulty has been increased. I personally call it throttling, in which case in a normal group, no matter what your loadouts are, you can expect a certain difficulty of opponent. And when is the case that they started giving out more of these ruby rewards outside of the regular game modes than we had been accustomed to receiving them, it's like, hey, wait a minute, there's 1 or 2 new guys in here and they are scoring vastly more, to the point where you could burn 800 rubies and pay for gold pass and all that, and you still probably won't catch them because they're that far ahead of you. Essentially impossible to catch. They're basically lowering your reward threshold in those situations, and this became especially apparent starting with the Snow Tour. When level 7 came into the game, we started getting the total points challenge and other challenge cards such as Kart Pro, and we've had more team rally tours, things of that nature. So if we take a look, I'll pull back up the rubies that you can see here that I've gotten. Looking at the data here, this is between the Snow Tour and the Paris Tour. On tours where the rewards given to us outside of ranked mode were great, my performance in ranked mode suffered. And if you take a look at when the ranked rubies were low, just basically only the total points challenge, my ranked performance was sensational. I got a double win in 2 of those such occasions. And the one in which I didn't was following the rubies received from a team rally tour in the previous tour. So that's caught my attention, and this is the way that I see Nintendo controlling its virtual currency, basically securing the rubies economy, in which case they can modulate the revenue that they receive in terms of players purchasing packs and bundles. I've prepared a chart here to show directly the ranked rubies from the Snow Tour through the Paris Tour compared to the extraneous rubies that I received, which would be the challenge board and the team rally rubies. I'm not including today's challenge rubies in with this for 2 reasons. One is because that replaces the login bonus that we had previously received. So we were getting 10 to 15 rubies per tour from login bonuses. That's now been replaced. We receive 5 rubies on 2 different days, day 5 and day 10. And it is common to receive rubies as a gift 1 or more days otherwise than that, but it's not a guarantee. So I do believe that it's more difficult for Nintendo to pinpoint the number of rubies being generated extra through random means. They can't hurt the entire player base because there may be players out there who are not pulling rubies on a single day from today's challenge pipes. So with that said, again, I am only including the challenge board rubies with the team rally rubies. And what I did is I took a Pearson correlation coefficient, and what that found was an R value of -0.4, which is it's not a strong correlation, but it is a correlation. It's not a weak correlation. Anything that's less than 0.3 would be a sign that there's a very minimal, almost a non-existent correlation. If the correlation equals 0, then there is no correlation. A value of 0.4 signifies that there is a correlation, but it's not particularly strong. A value of 0.9 or above, maximum value being 1. 1 is like a direct correlation. And then we take the square value of that, which is the coefficient of determination. That is 0.2. I'm not going to go into great detail on the statistical methods of this. You can research them on your own to understand why I'm using them here. I'm just going to give you guys a layman's translation so that you can understand this work I've done and essentially the implications that it has. So now that's the left side of this chart. What I did on the right side is I said, okay, your investments, I've told you guys this before on the channel, in the free-to-play feature for tickets, and in numerous other occasions, I've said that when you invest tickets, you're basically snatching away value from the ranked algorithm. So they're trying to pigeonhole you into a certain place in the rankings. And when you use tickets, you can buck the trend. You can move up, you can perform how you like, depending upon how many tickets you've saved and what you're using them on. Things of that nature, right? So I said, okay, the tours where I invested majorly, I'm going to take out the benefit of what I received in ranked mode from using those tickets. So the top one was the Snow Tour, and you remember that was DK Summit. I used multiple high-end tickets in order to catch Donkey Kong Jr. up in order to go from 4th or 5th place all the way into 1st place. So with that said, the difference between 1st place and 4th place rubies is 30 rubies. So I subtracted 30 rubies in this case. I deducted them from the total and I pretended like the tickets didn't exist. So because this is what the algorithm is looking at, right? The algorithm doesn't know what your end result inventory is going to be. It's only looking at what the inventory is at the start of the week. That's why, as an aside here, I will show you that the second time I won 80 rubies in a tour, that was the Paris tour. Remember guys, I came on and I specifically pulled for Wedding Mario, Tuxedo Mario, in the second week of the tour because I said I didn't need him to win ranked mode in week 1. I didn't invest anything in week 1. I pulled for him in week 2 because I didn't have a driver on a track, and then suddenly I had a driver for the track. And I won going away easily in week 2 also because Nintendo didn't anticipate that thing being in my inventory. So I used essentially, I believe it was 0 tickets on that tour. And that's why I didn't deduct the rubies for that. However, the DK versus Bowser tour, you guys remember I invested heavily into the Rambi Runner. And I also put a bunch of cap tickets into Dixie Kong as well, in order to be able to perform on that. So for 1 week's worth of ranked mode, I switched it so that I would have come in 2nd place because that did make a difference, those investments between coming in 2nd and 1st on one such week. So there I reduced the count from 80 to 60. And then the tour before that was the Sydney tour. I had invested several tickets into my Para Wing and I underbaked, so I just narrowly came in 1st place that week. So I reduced that also to a 2nd place outcome to go from 50 rubies to 30 rubies. And then the other thing I did here was I adjusted the ruby amount earned from the Team Bowser versus Donkey Kong tour, which is that greater than 50% of the player base in that tour won 15 rubies, right? Because more than half chose Team Bowser. Team Bowser went on to win. So I added 5 additional extra rubies there because The ranked, they don't have somebody at Nintendo custom making ranked algorithms for different players. There's just one formula, and it has to apply to everybody. So there you have it. And what this ultimately did is it changed the correlation. When you remove my ticket usage out of the equation and minorly adjusted the extraneous rewards for the team rally event, you'll see that the R value increased to 0.7. This is edging closer to a very strong correlation here, and the R squared value is 0.5. So what does this say? Let me remind you, correlation does not prove causation. I've done my very best on this channel to teach you guys how to think scientifically, use scientific method in the process in order to not only succeed in this game, but you can apply this to all facets of your life, right? It's a very valuable tool to bring. With that being said, science is about a body of knowledge, okay? And the evidence you find either supports or rejects certain outcomes. So this correlation that I've found between the Rubies economy and ranked algorithm performance, it doesn't prove anything, but there is a strong correlation for this. And with strong correlation comes this theory, right? And my hypothesis begins to take form and gain weight, okay? You guys in the audience are unlikely to experience this same level of correlation because I told you the tickets that I removed from my ranked performance, and I'm a minimalist. I perform using the least amount of moves possible. Most people in the community are actively increasing level on all pieces of their inventory. So the correlation would be seen less for you guys. And just because it would be less for you doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It means that your pattern of playing has disguised and covered up the underlying mechanisms in the game. So basically, this whole mechanism exists beneath the soil. And what I've done is I've basically tilled up the ground. So with this information, I would recommend you keep an eye open for it and be aware of it if you know that they are going to be giving extra rubies as rewards, such as they're doing in this tour, right? We have the additional rubies from the summertime celebration. I've seen it in my own ranked mode. The highest I can come is in 3rd place. My top 2 opponents have been extraordinarily difficult. Tens of thousands of points beyond my capabilities. Even if I pull on the pipes, the week 1 pipe, the special pipe, it would take an exorbitant amount of tickets in order to overcome that deficit. The last point of order that I want to raise attention for as it pertains to ranked mode is something that Reddy brought forth to me. He said, Kevin, there's players in the community that commonly report receiving the same opponents in their ranked group week in and week out. And this is puzzling, right? Because in a fully randomized system, you would expect, okay, a community as large as we have will likely see the same opponents, or at least 1 or 2 of them, here and there, if you are of similar skill level. But what we've seen is that there's an entire cluster of opponents that will show up in ranked groups week in and week out. And I'm going to share with you a few screenshots in the right-hand side here, where you see players such as Throat Punch, Ricky, Mona, Stick RNG with the stars. They repeat several times in different ranked modes here. TT is another one in these groups. And what's interesting to note is that the players who reported these are tier 70, tier 69 at the times of being paired with these. So that exists beyond the realm of where I'm currently at and other free-to-play players are currently at. So this is sort of like a call to action for players in the community. Look out for this sort of thing and report it. Have discussions on it, because what this shows is that there's either frailty in the mechanism for randomization, or that the randomization isn't absolute And that could be tied to several different things. I don't have a very clear, precise answer for what is the underlying cause for this, since it is beyond the scope of my game and it's something that I haven't been able to put a lot of thought into. But perhaps it could be tied to user seeding ID numbers for why these players appear in the same ranked group week in and week out for different players, because they're attached to each other. TT, Mona, Ricky, all of them. Yeah, it's a fascinating trend. There's a lot of things about the higher level tiers that I've seen, such as like the 19 bot phenomenon, right? Where it doesn't matter what you score. We've seen it, I think, tier 68. When tier 68 was at the leading edge of the tier, the vast majority of players had 19 bots in their ranked group, and yet if you're free to play like we are and you're at like tier 48 or tier 50, and it's like, oh my goodness, we have to fight so hard in order to come in like second or third or fourth place just to hold on or like gradually increase our tier, and then someone who's on the leading edge like that magically has no opponents effectively in a tier 68 group. It's definitely puzzling, and it shows some kind of a error within the ranked mode algorithm that they provide. I apologize for not having more deep thoughts on it at the moment, but this is new information for me, and I thought that would be a great topic to discuss in the comments, and I hope that many of you pay attention to the names in your ranked group and can perhaps find trends beyond just this grouping of like 4 or 5 players who commonly appear in people's ranked modes. Well, I sure hope you thought those points of order to be very fascinating. If you did, this is a good time to drop a thumbs up if you haven't already, or subscribe if you are new. For the rest of the video, what I'm going to do with you guys is today's challenge pipe with you guys. And I promised Justin, if I were to somehow hit the astronomical odds in order to get a 45 ruby chest out of today's challenge pipe, I would do a YOLO 45. I don't do YOLOs, guys, but just this one time I would do a YOLO on the pirate pipe. So that's less than a 1% chance of doing that on the video. Otherwise, we're going to do the all clear pipe, and then we'll put it forward to the tour preview this Friday. Will my hopes be dashed once again, and then I will just be, I don't know if I'm going to have any love left for the game if they do that, and passing up the 40th anniversary of DK after they didn't provide an alt for DK in the Bowser vs. DK tour. You know, Diddy Kong is basically non-existent in the game, and let's face it, the high-end Kongs that they have brought in, the value isn't significant there. They're definitely pedestrian, putting it honestly. So, you know, had it been the case where if they had given something like Dixie Kong or Funky Kong, the giant banana already, the need to bring in a brand new Kong of considerable value wouldn't be so great, honestly. My level of urgency or desire there wouldn't be much. Look, it's not like I want a million things in the game, okay? Sure, it would be nice to fill in my favorite driver list of 8 with a complete set of Kongs, but that's not important, honestly. What's important is to enjoy and have fun in the game and to grow in the game as well. And for players of that franchise, that's just not possible. I mean, I've spoken with so many of them, and a lot of them who invest money into the game, they've fully brought them all to level 7, since there aren't very many of them and there's not much to play for now. So Nintendo's actually losing revenue from some of these hardcore DK fans because of Nintendo's unwillingness to bring in a new alt to the game, and that's just very unfortunate for them. It's something I've talked with the folks in feedback on. They're well aware of it, but you know, whoever they're forwarding the information to and the powers that be definitely leave it on the table, and it never leaves the table essentially. So that's been unfortunate, and It's really done a number on my interest and love for the game. I've tried to soldier on many times with you, and I try not to let you guys see me get down by it, but it's difficult, to be honest, and I do my best to always provide a silver lining or a positive glass half full outlook. But if they pass over the 40th anniversary, then there's nothing else on the calendar foreseeable for them to bring in something that I'd like to see. So it would certainly be a gut punch, and it's not entirely unexpected, to be honest with you, because they brought in Cheap Island. It's a phenomenal track, and now that I've had the chance to race the trick version, it's one of the best trick versions they've ever made. I have to give credit where it's due. Nintendo and Mario Kart Tour, the development team, has done an amazing job of porting in the GBA tracks. I can't say enough. I would just absolutely love to see them do Riverside Park. I've never raced it before. As you guys know, I haven't played the GBA game. But we'll see what they bring. It seems like they had leaked potentially SNES Koopa Troopa Beach 2 RT, coupled with the fact that there is SNES Mario in the in one of the paid packs, and it's not in ranked mode. It has no use this tour, so that's usually a clue that something is coming. And if we look at SNES Mario, well, could it just be a new RT track or RMX track? It's certainly possible. So it's not a wonderful sign, although you could say that, like, look, you know, it is 8-bit, so maybe they'll do something with 8-bit DK, although they already have DK Jr. from the original Super Mario Kart game. So unless they're going to do a driver that's based on the original DK arcade, which would be really cool, honestly, that would be phenomenal, then I don't see them doing it, and it's probably just going to be another beach, or, you know, kind of like a filler tour. Perhaps if that final tour is a team rally, maybe that's what the RT is for, or maybe they just mistakenly revealed the RT and it doesn't have a use. I know Rainbow Road 2 RT, I believe it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if that's not the variant that they teased and then it never came to the game. So yeah, not feeling very optimistic about the tour preview this Friday. So I suppose that's part of the motivation for dropping off some of the legacy content that I've done here, because these are things that I've discussed at length on the Discord with you guys, and to have that and be able to share that with you guys on camera is important, since I know few of you are able to interact when we're having some of these Discord conversations, or it might just be intimidating. Look, you know, I'm very proud of my comment section on these videos. You know, with all due respect to all the other content creators, I have to say that what you guys are able to share with me here, our comment section is on absolute fire. I mean, I can't thank you enough for all of the deep wisdom and discussions that we share. It's amazing, and you know, just because my enthusiasm for the game is low, if anything, my enthusiasm for the community is that much higher. So thank you guys for all the comments. And it's not just like, you know, hang in there, keep your head up. It's like, these are like actual discussions. I like learning about you guys and your game and helping you out with your strategy, and that's what we've done a lot of in the comments. So don't feel intimidated if you see long comments. You don't have to make a long one if you don't want to, but if you take the time, I respect your time, and I will show you that time in giving you a response of my own. So here we go. Today's challenge cleared. 45 rubies. We have a green pipe, so maybe we could get 45 rubies. All right, let's go right into it. YOLO 10 pull. Okay, 500 coins. Why is it every time I come on video, it's 500 coins? Oh my goodness. Not complaining. 500 coins is very good. So there we go. All we have left is the big reverse race. We're going to go in with DK, obviously. Let's do the Ramby Runner. We have to do the Ramby Runner, right? And then we'll do the Swooper. And we'll put it on 150cc. Start off with a Mushroom Frenzy, nice. Where is everybody? It's like they put me back. Normally you pass somebody by now. Although we're still in lap 1, so nice, giant banana frenzy. Too bad this isn't for score, right? Alright, so we got one guy to beat now. I don't suspect anybody from back there is going to catch up. And we should be in good shape now. Notwithstanding my trip into the rock. So there you have it. First place finish. Now here's something to keep in mind for the free-to-play players out there. You're going to have to use, if you earn all the Grand Stars from this tour, you're going to still have to use 4 star tickets in order to get that high-end ticket after the week 2 challenge board that comes in. So something to keep in mind for you guys who are free-to-play. Here's the video for all cups cleared. Congratulations. I love that design of Cheap Cheap Island. Very nice. So let's see all the Ramby runners, you guys. Every tour I come on and I do the all clear pipe, it's just a whole bunch of Ramby runners. It's my favorite kart in the game. One of my sole reasons for playing in the last 2 months now. Hard to believe it's been that long. And I'm very thankful that it's still getting value because going forward, if they don't do something really cool with these next few tours, I might just play on a semi-regular basis if I like the items that are in play. But I'll decide that long term. I don't make any hasty decisions or things of that kind. So here we go. All cups cleared. What do I want to see? The head honcho would probably help for ranked mode, but I'd like to see the Kongs, maybe something from the Pirate Pipe, Nabbit, King Bob-omb. Those would both be new for me. If not, there's a few gliders and carts that I still need to get. So I'm not going to provide you guys with an exhaustive list. I'm just going to pull and see what we got here. The Bad Wagon, okay. Yeah, not thrilled about that, honestly. It's a good cart. It's a Daily Selects cart, but as you can see, mine is nowhere near being maxed out, and I have the Swooper maxed out for my Daily Selects. So yeah, the Bad Wagon used to be value, but okay, so here's another tidbit before we sign off here. It's something that a lot of us have discovered in terms of the value of things moving forward, and that is if we take a look at the track values for the Bad Wagon, these things like Yoshi's Circuit, Bowser Castle 1, Shy Guy Bazaar, Rock Mountain, Daisy Hills, these are tracks that were in year 1 of the game. They're not coming back into ranked mode. A lot of the ranked mode tracks, if we take a look here, granted there is Shy Guy Bazaar R, but look, RMX Choco Island 2R, that was a track that just came into the game this year. Cheap Cheap Island, brand new track obviously. So same deal here, but RMX Rainbow Road 1, this is one that came in right before the anniversary tour. So once again, very few original tracks being played out here. Koopa Troopa Beach, of course. So there's a mixture, but just to say, like, the way that those items originally carried your account, you can't expect them to carry your account forward. It's kind of like a planned obsolescence by the folks at Nintendo, how your old items that you've invested into gradually lose value as they present you with these new ones that you need to get and have more value than the old ones. That's just the way it is. That's the way that they're going to continue making money and staying afloat, moving forward to provide us with a nice experience and hopefully give us a good tour preview on Friday. I got my fingers crossed, my toes are crossed. Let's go, guys. 40th anniversary of DK, make it happen. I'm not super optimistic about that, obviously, because I was expecting that to be this tour, to be honest with you. And granted, Nintendo and Mario Kart Tour do have a way of celebrating something after the fact. Okay, I understand that. That's how the first anniversary went, so that could certainly be the case here. However, the Olympics are going on for 2 weeks, and that is starting during the next tour. So will they have 2 tours dedicated to sports or the Olympics? Probably not. So it could be the second tour, or I should say the second tour from now, which would be the final tour of the celebration. But that could also be a team rally tour. So next tour, hopefully my initial prediction is wrong, that middle tour will be the Olympics tour, because that would likely mean that there's not going to be a Kong. I wouldn't see that being the case. So yeah, if you guys would like, please leave your support for the channel. As always, I wish you all the best, and take care. Have a good one.